Hey guys, as you may know, I have recorded a podcast with Vladimir Kramnik, former world chess champion, and at the end of this podcast, we played a fascinating chess game that Mr. Kramnik found very interesting. He was impressed. He commended me on some of the moves. I managed to sacrifice the house to him. I sacrificed 2 rooks in this game. I sacrificed some minor pieces as well. It was a fascinating game. So let me show it to you with my analysis. As for the podcast, I really recommend you watch it. The link will be in the description. If you haven't yet, I disagree with Mr. Kramnik on many issues, but I think we had a productive conversation, kind of like a debate on his efforts in combating online cheating. So I'm really looking forward to your comments to the podcast as well. So let's start looking at the game. Mr. Kramnik's rating here is given as 2500 because he doesn't play bullet on chess.com. This is an automatically assigned rating. My rating is around 2200. We played an unusual time control. Usually top grandmasters while playing me, like Fabi, for example, or Daniel Naroditsky or Levon Aronian, they give me time odds, but Mr. Kramnik doesn't play without increment because he doesn't have a mouse. You might have seen this, that he's playing not too quickly online. So he requested a 1 second increment, so we are playing 1 against 5 with a 1 second increment. So I have 5 minutes, he has 1, and after each move, 1 second is added. So e4, c5, knight c3. This is the close Sicilian that I frequently play. These setups, like the Magnus Sicilian against d6, is very interesting. I have some videos on this channel on this system. But here, Mr. Kramnik plays knight c6, and I go bishop b5. Knight d4, knight f3. This is all theory. I give up the bishop for the knight, but I have quicker development. Here he takes, he kicks me away, and he goes b5, while I strike in the center with d4, because the best way to combat flank aggression is to hit your opponent right in the center. This is a good rule of thumb. Takes, and bishop b7. So this is the position around here. I was already out of my prep, out of theory. And I went bishop f4, logical development move. Knight f6 also continues development. The only problem black has is that black is lagging down in development. I have already castled my king. All my pieces are out already. The bishop, both knights, the rook will join in soon. And black needs a couple more tempi to finish the development, to move the bishop and to castle.
Oh, I'm playing pretty fast.
Yeah.
I still have like 1 minute. Okay, I can mine some time for me if you want.
After this, black will be fine, but I try to prevent this from happening. I develop my rook, and once Mr. Kramnik tries kicking me away, I sacrifice the knight.
Okay, let's try this.
No, it's not bad. It's actually very clever.
So the computer doesn't like this, but actually let me hide the evaluation because it is a little bit confusing. At the time I played this move, Kramnik was really impressed. And my coach, Grandmaster Farukh Imanatov, also told me that, yeah, this is a great practical move. Second the knight, yes, the computer finds a defense, but I'm not playing a computer. So he takes, I take, and he goes d6. And actually, if you look at the computer alliance now, I'm already better. So you see, the sacrifice paid off. Turns out that the best way to proceed for black, instead of going d6, was to take here. But still, I have some annoying counterplay. I have this check, I have this check, I have knight e5, knight g5, and the king of black is still in the center, so it's not as easy to play for black, especially in the limited time control. So d6, I'm already better. Let me hide the evil bar once again to not spoil anything for you. So here I take on b4. The bishop is hanging now. Also, this queen is eyeing this pawn jointly with this bishop. So the bishop takes, I give Kramnik a check, he blocks, and now I decide to go knight g5. And the position is just great. It's it's a pleasure to look at. So the computer, of course, finds some defense for black and says that it's around equal. You can agree to a draw and go home, but obviously none of us wants to offer a draw. I want to try and attack the world champion, try to play a good game for the content, and he wants to destroy me because I'm just a silly noob and he's a former world champion. So bishop e7 is what he plays. Here I was at crossroads. I calculated several moves. I thought I could take with the knight, obviously, takes, and then take with my rook on e6. And I was sure that I'm not worse here. My attack continues. Yes, he can castle out of the way, but this pawn will also fall next, and I will have 3 pawns for the piece. Also, I was thinking that here I could take with the bishop, and it's maybe even better. Now he cannot castle because I'll take the bishop, and if he takes with the bishop, I take with the rook, and already I'm winning because I will destroy him with my rooks and queen. This is already plus 2.4, the computer says. So, of course, I didn't know the evaluation at the moment, so I was considering those moves, but at the end I decided, you know what, I want to do something flashy. I want to sacrifice, yes, the rook. Rook takes e6. It's objectively maybe not the best move, but still it adds some fuel into this fire. So he has to take, and I take, and the idea is that I fork the queen and this pawn, and I disallow him from castling because he has to move his queen, and I take the pawn with check, and I'm officially down a full rook for 3 pawns. So 2-point material deficit is present here, but it's not trivial to play with black. So king f7, attacking my knight, and I protect the knight with bishop h6, and already I start to think that maybe my attack has lost its steam. I already told this to Mr. Kramnik, so yeah, I thought I had something, but I decided, you know what, maybe I can do something. So he has found this beautiful maneuver, queen to g4.
I thought there should be something, but maybe there is nothing.
No, but it's an interesting game. It's actually a very interesting game.
Threatening me with the queen exchange. Obviously, after queen exchange, I will be down to much material and I will be lost. And also, this queen is very active here, preventing me from activating my queen on this flank, maybe going here. So I have to drop back, giving him a check, and he blocks with the d pawn. So here, again, I could have blocked, for example, with f3 because he's currently threatening to take my rook. But I decided, you know what? I'm going to sacrifice the rook again. Rook takes d5. It's actually one of the best moves in the position. He takes, I take, and I'm down 2 rooks. 2 rooks for a knight and several pawns. But the position actually, surprisingly, the computer says that the position is not that bad for me. It's minus 1.2. So yes, it's much better for black. But if you are a computer, if you are a human, you can win this, you can lose this, you can draw this by perpetual check, anything can happen. But I'm playing one of the greatest chess players of all time, and he finds the best moves. So king g6 is the best move, because all other moves, by the way, give me advantage. For example, if he goes here, I have this h3 move, kicking the queen away. And once the queen goes back, the queen has to control this square to prevent checkmate, so the queen goes back to c8. I'm looking at the computer lines. Obviously, I didn't calculate all this during the game. The computer gives g4 with advantage for white. So the evaluation is plus 0.57 or 63 even. So although I'm down material, I'm attacking, and black cannot find safety for the king. For example, rook d8, g5 check. King has to go to g6, and now queen f3. And I'm threatening queen h5, which will be a checkmate. So wow, he has to give up the bishop here. I check him, then he has to go here, and then I can check him again, and the king hunt continues. Wow, that would be very exciting. I would love this position, but of course he doesn't go to f6. That's not the best square. He goes to g6 to be able to block with the bishop, and he's better. Let me hide the evaluation again. So here I find actually the best move according to the computer, h3. So the idea is that on the one hand, I give my king luft, breathing space, because otherwise some nasty queen d1 would be possible with checkmate if my queen left the defense of the d1 square. And also I'm attacking his queen. And if he moves the queen somewhere offside, like queen a4, I have a checkmate. Queen h5 check, king f6, queen f5 checkmate. My knight and the bishop are doing a great job together with the queen, checkmating the king. So actually, turns out the queen doesn't have that many squares after h3. Mr. Kramnik again finds the best move for black in this position. Well, he used to be world champion for a reason. I thought that maybe he goes queen e2, and that would give me a very good attack after bishop e3, blocking this queen. And the computer gives equality here, but yeah, probably a perpetual check is what happens here. But that didn't happen. Instead of moving the queen, Mr. Kramnik used good chess advice that he definitely got at some of the Soviet schools of chess. If your piece is attacked, you don't have to move it. You can counterattack opponent's piece. So which piece of mine can black counterattack? Of course, the queen. And Mr. Kramnik counterattacked my queen with his rook, which is the best move, again, according to Stockfish. So what's marvelous is that he finds all these moves within seconds. So this shows how great he is. He has spent just 1 second on this rook d8 move. He probably has seen it in advance, but still, this is very impressive. Actually, had he moved the other rook to d8, rook h to d8, that would be much worse for him. Because in this position, after rook a to d8, I give him this check, and the best move is rook d6. The best move is to block. But had he moved that rook, the h8 rook, then the a8 rook would be under attack after queen c6. Let me show it to you. So check, he has to block, and I can take the rook. And the black is a little bit better still because of rook d1. Oh no, it's equality. The computer gives equality. Rook d1, king h2, bishop d6, and some complications resolved in a draw. So that could have happened, but he moved in the other rook. I still give him a check, he blocks. And here I see an interesting sequence of moves. I calculate that I can take his queen. So I calculate that I can take his rook. He has to take with the bishop. Then I take his queen. So takes. And if he takes on h6, I have a fork. Knight f5, checking the king and the bishop. Let me show it on the board. So check, this is what happened. And if king takes, I have knight f5 check. Once the king moves, I take on d6. Yes, he can take my pawn on g4, but I have a great position. I have a knight and 3 pawns for a rook. So I'm up 1 point of material. Probably it's around equal because the rook will be able to infiltrate and somehow take my pawns while I maybe try to advance the pawns here and activate my king. Maybe the rook won't be able to take my pawns. Maybe I'll play for a win. But that would be a great position for me. But the problem here is that he doesn't have to take the bishop after all those captures. He told me that in advance he didn't see the move that he was about. He eventually made here, but that's actually the only move for black to get a winning advantage. So black can move the bishop, for example, to e5, but then I just go knight f5. He can take the pawn, and again I'm not down material. I have a knight and 2 pawns for a rook, and the position is balanced. But of course, Mr. Kramnik again finds the best move, going bishop f8, and this is the cold shower for me, because this is a pin. My knight cannot go away. Well, it can, but he will just take, and I will be down a rook in this position. I will have many pawns for the rook, but they will all fall, and black is easily winning. I have 4 pawns for a rook actually here, but that's not enough in such positions. So knight f5 doesn't work, and I just made another move and decided to resign the game, because here, yes, again, I can take the bishop exchange, but this is a losing endgame, and if I don't exchange, if I go bishop g5, he'll just take another pawn of mine, and being down a rook against the world champ is not a happy situation to be in.
But it was fantastic game, actually, very interesting.
I'm happy that I sacked some pieces against Kramnik. I really had a great position. I didn't expect to get any chances. I'm flattered that he considered my play interesting. I hope that it did not imply any accusations. So the conclusion of this is that you don't have to be afraid while playing stronger opponents. You have to attack them. Because if you're just too passive, if you do nothing, then they will outplay you definitely. But if you initiate some chaos on the board, maybe you trick them, maybe they blunder in time pressure. So that happens sometimes. And my experience playing top players in the world, being just a candidate master, I stand no chance in like slow positional maneuver and play. But when I initiate chaos, good things can happen. See you in the next one, and don't forget to check out the podcast. Bye-bye.